What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hike Life. I have another video for you here. This one's a little bit unusual because I'm kind of going back in time. When I arrived at the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, basically the camera batteries mostly died. Like when we first got out of the van, I got some footage. I have a little bit of cell phone footage, and then this really cool little town that we created inside. We had 9 people going on this trip with us. But the coolest part for me was I made this PULK out of a kid sled, out of a child sled, and basically turned it into a way to carry 50 pounds through the snow in -7-degree weather. So stay tuned, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Here we go. Alright, the first thing we're going to talk about is this BA PULK that I built. Now, if you don't know what a PULK is, it's P-U-L-K. It's basically this big wide sled that you pull on your back full of your gear. Alright, so let's first talk about the PULK. This thing, it worked pretty well, I must say, for a homemade child sled to be my PULK. Here's why it works so well. First things first is these casters right here that I put on. These worked wonderfully. I just screwed them on with the 4 bolts in the back. So these 4 bolts on each caster held it into the sled itself. I basically drilled 8 holes here and then put these casters on. Now what made the casters work so well is that well, this one's stuck. What made the casters work so well is that whenever I'd turn a corner, they would turn the sled with me. You'll see this when I'm demonstrating how to use the PULK for the first time. And that's pretty much that. Now I have these outriggers on there. Don't put those on. Those are a waste to get caught on everything. But what was really, really helpful is these tie-outs. I had these tie-outs that go all the way down each side and also in the back here. And that allowed it to tie the backpack on and tie all the gear in. I put mine in a garbage bag so that way it wouldn't get wet when we were dragging it through the snow. And then I strapped all of the paracord over it, crisscrossing it back and forth to make sure that it worked wonderfully. PULK, success. Totally go out and get one. I mean, when I say get one, don't go spend the hundreds of dollars on one. Just get this one for 20 bucks. I think it was actually $10 with all the gear and everything, 20 bucks. Boom, done. Oh, and then I've used these poles. I took some PVC, capped them off on the ends, drilled these little things inside of them, these little circular things, and then tied the paracord to them. On this side, I put 2 little loops, and those hooked into the casters, these 2 loops, so that way it could steer as I was going down the trail. That's pretty much it. The PULK worked great. Make sure your center of gravity is there, so make sure that you put your bag in the middle, because I've noticed when I was going around turns, it would tip to one side and made it very difficult, and then you have to take the whole harness off, which, by the way, I just used backpack straps from an old backpack and then clipped it on with a carabiner. But anyway, it tipped, and you had to take the whole thing off or have a buddy help you to recenter it. So just center it properly the first time, and then you won't have to go through that the next time. All right, let's talk about what we're doing here getting out of the van. Now, we've exited the van, all 9 of us, we've made it there, we've drove 12 or 14 hours, and now here we are getting out of the van in very, very cold, deep snow. So as you can see here, Red Leader takes the camera with my GoPro and sets it across the street so we can kind of get a visual of what everyone's doing and how we're setting up. And then of course we're going to speed up through here, a little time lapse, and you'll see once we come out of this time lapse, me trying on the PULK for the first time. This is the first time. Where I was, there was no snow, so I mean, I drug it around my house for 2 weeks after I built it, but I wasn't really sure that it was going to work in the snow. So this is the first time I get to test it, and you can see a silly little clip of me putting it on and running around and checking out its handling and quartering, and yeah, so that's that. And then basically, you look here, something happens to the GoPro. Well, someone forgot about the GoPro, Red Leader.
Good morning, good morning.
The coolest part is the city. We tracked over the same places so many times, it created this little trail and pathway within the snow that was really, really cool. So each person's home was spaced out, and some people built little countertops out of the snow, and some people built little shelves, and some people made their stove set or where they boiled their water there. It was just a really, really cool experience. If you look here, Red Leader, he has definitely camped in snow before because he has the palace of snow camping here. So he has a huge tarp, and he made these benches around his area so that he could sit down, put your boots on. I thought that was really, really cool. And as we go through the town, you can kind of see how some others did it. One of my favorite things that we did is someone brought a big tarp and we slanted it over the fire. Now, not directly over it, of course, but we slanted it over to where the heat from the fire would rise up. And then we just threw shovels of snow on top of the tarp, and it melted and created a drinking water. If that's sanitary safe, who knows? But we did it, and we were fine with it, and we all lived, and no one got dysentery, so I think it seems safe enough. Very quick little video of us. Peace.